Now at 5:30, the California Department of Justice clearing officers in a controversial shooting in the Inland Empire.
Jimmy Lopez was shot by officers after bar staff called 911 saying he had a gun. KCAL News assignment editor Mike Rogers is here at the desk with what he actually had and what the final report says. Mike?
Yeah, so the California Department of Justice was brought in to investigate this case under AB 1506, which requires them to investigate the death at the hands of law enforcement of an unarmed civilian. Now, we'll show you the video. This happened in Hemet more than a year ago when Jimmy Lopez was in this bar. Now, according to the California Department of Justice's report, Lopez had 2 shots and a 32-ounce glass of beer inside of that bar. Bar staff noticed he'd become intoxicated, and when they tried to remove him, that's when bar staff said a gun fell out of his waistband. The bar staff recounts Lopez picking up that gun and continuing to walk outside. Hemet police responded, and ultimately, after engaging with Lopez and trying to get him to surrender, he was shot and killed by those officers. Now, what it ultimately ended up being is that gun was an airsoft gun. It was not a real gun, but it did look real, according to the Department of Justice. But the final moments, right before he lost his life and was shot by Hemet police, the California Department of Justice says he reached for a vape that was on the ground, not for the gun. Ultimately, those officers would fire 69 rounds at Lopez.
Get on your stomach. Don't reach. Not worried.
You hear the commands right before the shots. They say, don't reach, don't reach. Ultimately, he does, and they shoot and kill him. Now, his family has filed a lawsuit against the Hemet Police Department. This shooting ended up being very controversial at the time. But tonight, the California Department of Justice says those officers were in the clear. And what's more, the California Department of Justice is required by law to make recommendations to local law enforcement agencies after they have investigated a deadly shooting. And in this case, the California Department of Justice says they have no policy recommendations that they would make to the Hemet Police Department. They did criticize some crossfire situations and the fact that they did not immediately render medical aid. But other than that, say the officers are in the clear and they did not have any recommendations for the department. Guys?
All right. Thanks so much, Mike.